live letters soon. I'm hoping over... The hell? Hello? Ah, there we go. I'm hoping over the next few days I can knock out a bit more of the, oh, I didn't realize I had that. I'm hoping I can knock out a few more of the, or a lot more of the MSQ. Not specifically to watch it, although that would be nice. More like just making sure that I can get there ASAP so I don't get spoiled on anything, because just through miasma, oh my god. Oh, why did that word stick in my head since Charles's stream? Osmosis. That was the word I was looking for. Through pure osmosis and just following a few people that are adjacent to 14, I might learn things that I don't want to learn. So, the further I can get through this, the better. Is that a Luca? How are you doing? I'm actually glad I got to catch one of your, Dead by Daylight streams today. I saw the last one. Oh, sorry, no. I saw the Phasmophobia stream and it was kind of sour I missed it, but I was also unconscious, so... I'm grumpy because I'm still only allowed to get a few hours sleep at once. As in, fate will not let you sleep more, or or, like, something is actually preventing you from sleeping. What the fuck was I doing? Oh, right, Alphino. Sorry, buddy. Alphino wears a satisfied smile, seemingly content with the state of Yormore. Fate will not let me sleep more than that. I mean, I feel like at this point I've seen way too... I've seen enough tweets from you where, like, at some random point in the middle of the night, and even sometimes late for me, you'll be up to something. I'm like, do you do, like, naps and that's it, or... Otherwise, your body's just gonna be like, oh, okay, we only sleep for 3 hours at a time. I mean, God knows I was in that mode for much of university. Truly, to see Kai Shi thus inspired by our actions this is what happens when I don't stream for many days, is inspiring in itself. My sleep schedule is basically just naps at this point, because my brain will go, oh, it'd be cool if I made this thing right now, and then not let me sleep until I do that thing. Ah, I see. Yeah, unfortunately for me, it was more like, when I was in that kind of mode, it was more like, okay, I know you studied, but like, what if we just made sure we knew everything? Again. And, like, for some reason, I just couldn't fight that off. I don't know, there was something, like, in that same kind of way that's like, okay, but we could be productive, though. It's like, it's fucking 5 a.m. Really? 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 Yeah, I feel you. Hang on a minute. What? It's like 17 or 18 hours, so what's that, like... come on, Wolfie, you can do math. Midnight. And 10. What is it, like 2 a.m.? Almost 1 a.m. Damn it. So close. Capitalist productivity, brain cannot be turned off. Yeah. Yet however much I may wish to stay and see what comes of his efforts here in Yormore, we have matters of our own to attend to. Come, we should return to the Crystal Tower. Mayhap Becklug's studies have borne fruit in our absence. How are you enjoying the best expansion, by the way? It's the best. This is hands down, like, the best this game has been so far. I wish I had... I don't know how short I want to be with this explanation, but, like... Telling a story within a medium like this has both massive opportunities for great storytelling and a lot of opportunities to mess it up. Or not, or just go with whatever's fine because, you know, MMOs don't really pay attention to the story much. And I appreciate how much this game has adhered to, no, we are going to tell a good story. Not just for MMOs, but we're just going to tell a good video game story. And how Shadowbringers has been, like, the culmination of so much that's happened in this game. It's just... oh, it's fucking incredible. I think Stormblood is the example of how to maybe not tell a story well in this medium. I still don't know how I feel about Stormblood. I still put it up there with Heavensward, but like, I think I still haven't had enough time to go through it a second time. Like, I kind of know where I stand with Realm Reborn and Heavensward, because I've been through it multiple times with multiple characters. Stormblood is the bit that I haven't as much. And Shadowbringers, I'm obviously on the new story kind of... I don't want to say dopamine hit, but I mean, that's basically what it is. But also, like, seeing someone actually do well in this medium, telling a story like this, is just so much more enjoyable than someone doing it passingly well. And I feel like the latter is what Stormblood was. But, like, I need more time to process it, unfortunately. I'm being a bit hyperbolic. 14 is peaks and valleys, ARR is a valley, some say Stormblood and Shadowbringers. Yeah, like... I mean, I could sit here and talk about, like, that for the rest of the goddamn stream, and there'd be no silence, but, one of the things I definitely wonder is how much of Heavensward being a peak is because of ARR. And not because it's not well written, but because it specifically stands right next to something that's not great. Because when I look at Stormblood, I'm like, yeah, no, I enjoyed that about as much, but the general consensus seems to be that Heavensward is the same, but generally better. I mean, Shadowbringers being such a peak might be a lot due to how much Stormblood is a valley. That's very true, too, like, if people kind of see it like that. I guess, like... The other thing I realized, too, is that I am experiencing all of this story in a very different way than everyone else did, right? Because I'm getting all of the patches and all of the MSQ back to back to back to back to back. I don't have to wait for any of this stuff. So, like, I could definitely see, and I heard a bit more about it from Stormblood from some people that have been in chat before, where there were definitely things that were built up in Stormblood, or that people... I don't want to say people thought. There definitely seems to be the notion that Stormblood didn't turn out to be what it was kind of billed as. One of the biggest being that you spend the majority of the story in Doma, and I recall a lot of people in chat over the playtime being like, hey, what's it like to finally be back in Girabania? And I was like, I mean, it's good, but like when the expansion kind of portrays itself as the Girabania thing, it can obviously suck to have this detour into Doma for a very long time. But obviously, from my perspective, I'm not looking at any of the marketing material, and it made so much sense to actually go to Doma within the context of the story without any of the metatextual stuff going on. And I enjoyed Stormblood for what it was. There were decisions here and there that I was like, this is where it's starting to misstep a bit, but it definitely feels like there's a lot more metatextual stuff to why Stormblood isn't seen as great. But again, I can't be sure of that because I don't know too many people that were there at the time, and it's hard for me to separate myself from the way I experienced it. Like, I could look back on some of the marketing material and stuff and go, oh yeah, they were talking about Girabania a bunch. But, like, you know, waiting for the expansion to come out, build as that, and then, yeah, is obviously a different thing. I honestly wish most of the expansion was either in Doma or Girabania. It's too split and so much good content is in Doma. There's not really much time to let Girabania breathe and have its time to be good. Yeah, it definitely felt like... It almost felt like Girabania was the reason... Or Girabania was put in that expansion to explain why you went to Doma. Because Girabania sets up a lot of really tough questions about war and shit like that. Then you go to Doma, you have like a good chunk of a coherent adventure there, answer all those questions, then come back to Girabania with the answers. And it's not even bad storytelling. Well, actually, I don't even know if I want to use that phrasing. Like, that's not an illegitimate way to tell a story, I don't think, but when you set up... Girabania feels like an afterthought because they spent 2 expansions talking about it, what happened there, and they felt they had to resolve it to a degree. Potentially, yeah, I could definitely see that. And I guess, like, it doubles as justification to go to Doma, which Doma is really fucking cool. Everything about the Azim Steppe I absolutely love, for example. But yeah, like, it felt like explicitly focused on the narrative and nothing else. It really felt like Girabania was, like I said, setting up questions that needed answers. You answered them in Doma, and then you came back and just did the surface level war shit. And obviously you had the bit where Lise had to kind of grapple with being a leader, and I mean, I could talk about that for bloody hours, but there just wasn't much, like you said, there's not much room for Girabania to be Girabania. It's just, like, it literally feels like it was juxtaposed specifically against Doma, so that when everyone came back, how do we unite a people under totalitarian rule that have been kicked into the dirt for years upon years? How do we, spearhead working against the Empire? What sort of feats do we need to do to inspire the people? We already knew the answers to that, so there wasn't anything interesting from the narrative perspective, but you did have the character bit of Lise, which a lot of people dislike. And Yotsuyu is worth buying the expansion for, period. I was fine on her. Like, that is a great character. I like where she sits in amongst Doma, for example. The resolution to her storyline in the patches, despite being like a massive piece of shit, is one of the most satisfying things I've seen in this game, I think. Like, her final, like, the culmination of her story in what happens literally in the last seconds of her life is just... It's so good. Yeah, I don't know. Like, that was a moment where I was like, oh man, if the writing and the setups that they kind of pay off continue to go like this into Shadowbringers, like, her boss fight also just kicks ass in general. Yeah, no, it's a really good fight. I messed it up a lot though, which kind of sucks. It's always a weird feeling, like, oh my god, this boss is so cool, I say, not being able to hit a button because I stood in bad twice in a row. I bet everyone else is having a really great time. Oh, man. Yeah, that like... It's... Okay, I am gonna go on this for just 1 second. The fact that Asahi is a Xenos fanboy, like, the second that was revealed, I was like, oh my god. You are, like, without a doubt, one of the most unlikable characters in this game. Like, Xenos is fun, don't get me wrong. as, like, an antagonist and a villain. I fucking love him. People who simp for him? No! Oh, God, no! What? Like, yeah, immediately and incredibly hateful, and he shoots his fucking sister multiple times, and she still has enough power and fucking malice in her for her sibling that she fucking, like, skewers him in his moment of triumph. It's just, oh, I love it. I actually really like the idea of him being an allegory for the weirdos in 14 audience that think the Empire is right. Yeah. Yeah. Because Xenos is great as a villain. He's obviously not a good person, he still needs to fucking die, but he is entertaining as an antagonist. And, like, yeah, it's like unironically seeing someone within the world being like, that guy's got the right idea is just... Oh, buddy. Please no. But yeah, it definitely comes across that way. Because I imagine there are different, shit, what's the word for it? Different, intensities of Xenos fans, let's say. What? Luca, politics in Final Fantasy? Okay, okay, hang on, sorry, to break that joke for 1 second. If there are people who are playing Shadowbringers who still think that, I want to go back to that moment in Stormblood where, what the fuck is his name? The Emperor. Where he literally goes on a rant about the perfect race. Like, I want to go back to that moment and be like, are you sure? Yeah. He sure does. Oh. Anyway, I've been staring at this text box for way too long. I don't get to reflect too much on, like, what's happened so far. Like, usually I'm, like, in the moment, and unless, like, you know, something happens that kind of reminds me of something or calls back to something, then I'll take a moment to do that. But, like, I think everyone could, like, even if there are a lot of people who can, like, look back on Stormblood and be kind of disappointed by it, that still had some fucking amazing moments. Thankfully, you're near the end of the MSQ content for the time being, so you have plenty of time to reflect. Oh, yeah. No doubt, like, there'll be plenty of streams of that, but... Ryuzaki... No. I mean, I love... Listen, Emmett's great, but... it's kind of like... So... Xenos is all about the hunt, and he doesn't give a shit about anybody else, right? To the point that he will, like, I have no doubt that, like, him just absorbing, like, some primal later on to, like, just to take us on for another rowdy show is all well and good, but I guarantee you there are going to be a lot of bodies until he gets there. Like, that is his, that is the bit where I'm like, I mean, you're still bad, but... I'm gonna put my hands on my hips instead of be like, ugh. Emmett's thing and, like, the Grand Arassian's thing is, like... They don't see any of the reflections as people. And, I know he's a character, he is a villain, I get it. That is... It's too much for me. Don't get me wrong. Like, I look over the cityscape and I say, look, I get it, but... I mean, yeah, that just feels gross and bad. Yeah, yeah. Like, I haven't actually mentioned this before, but, or maybe I just touched on it briefly, but it's also really weird that, like, the Emperor isn't wrong. Like, he is focused on it for a very specific reason, but, like, the core that, like, we would be more powerful if this thing happened isn't wrong. And obviously that's kind of, like, tied to the fact that the Ascians obviously had involvement in kind of that ideology being the base, or, sorry, that knowledge being known in the Empire to the point that it can become an ideology within it. But there's just something about that I'm like... But, like, even Ardbert can sympathize with the guy. I don't know, there might be something to that. Well, yeah, well, okay, look, don't get me wrong. I hated that we had to kill Emmett. I really did. I was on the verge of tears when he died, and then there was that moment where you talk to the Crystal Exarch and you say his name, and that broke me. Like, there is something to be... Like, when Xenos dies, I'm gonna be like, yeah, we did it. But I'm gonna fist bump him as he kind of bleeds out. Emmett, I'm just like... Damn it. Yeah, that's exactly it. Especially, yeah. Asahi, on the other hand, I laughed and cheered when that motherfucker died. I actually went back and watched a couple of other people stream through that moment, and it still fucking gets me. Okay, we're actually going to make some progress for a few minutes at least. Welcome back. We are given to understand a new mayor has taken office in Yulmore. Indeed, a good friend, Master Chai, who was elected by popular vote, and after some considerable soul-searching, chose to accept that the post. Also, Luca, I'm sure you know, like, I'm sure you probably have some idea of what just transpired in this part of the MSQ. If someone is still playing Shadowbringers and they don't think there's any politics in this game, I want to show them that questline again. Are you sure about that? It is a shame you weren't able to attend his inaugural speech, though I have no doubt you'll see more of him in the future. Chai sure did win the popular vote. He sure did. And actually, yeah. But tell me, how fared you in preparing the White Aura site? Our work did not proceed quite as expected. In your absence, we had a frank discussion on the principles of soul transference and concluded at length that while White Aura site was ill-suited for our purposes. See, this is what I was talking about, like, earlier. Insert your Morian conspiracy theorist going on about how it was rigged. Yeah. But I guess... actually, oh, shit. Actually, yeah, Luca, you're not even wrong. Fuck. But I guess the thing that also, like, at least struck me was, like, it went into great detail about how someone who isn't a businessman is probably not a good choice for leading the people in every capacity, and how he specifically goes out of his way to find people that can help him with everything else and understand what's actually happening in that part of in that region. You're going to tell me there are no politics in this game? Like, yeah. Anyway, sorry, about this specific line. I thought we already kind of established this. Like, we know that White Auracite can't hold ether for very long. Like, it was one of the key principles about when we used White Auracite the first time. I was kind of confused that they actually suggested it, but the thing I realized later on is that maybe like Ascian and Echo-y souls, or an Echo-ish souls, I guess, have more about them, and maybe regular souls could fit into that. It's something I didn't think at the time, but yeah. Anyway, ill-suited for our purposes. But Noriange, did you not say that compared to the massy soul of an Ascian, the stone could house one of ours with ease? Wait, did he actually fucking say that? Maybe I didn't have that independent thought. Maybe I read it, didn't realize I'd read it, and then days later went, oh yeah, that would actually make sense. That's embarrassing. That I did, and armed as we were with Becklug's invaluable insight, it would indeed prove a trifling matter. Were we to disregard the inviolable? Oh my god, that's tomorrow and tomorrow. Never to be broken, infringed, or dishonored. Were we to disregard the inviolable... Oh.
Inviolable.
Inviolable. Okay, I was right. To be fair, the Scions have come very far in their knowledge of ether and souls, and the like, they might actually be able to make use of White Horrorsight better than before. Even neglecting what Alphino just said. That's very true, and it's something that I can't exactly recall being brought up, but, like, it's one of those small details that I might have glossed over at the time, so... I guess what I'm willing to admit here is that maybe I didn't actually read that as much as I thought, if Alphino specifically cites Oriange saying Ascian souls are less weighty. Or, sorry, are more weighty. A link which would, we did belatedly realise, be weakened most perilously in the process of rendering our souls dormant, as Orisight doth require. Thus, the shedding of these fleshly simulacra, and the surfeit of ether which compriseth them, would in all likelihood deprive us of our psyches as well. It would theoretically be possible to channel your minds into the Orisight instead, but we would more than likely sacrifice your souls in the process, which is why we have abandoned that plan, and instead devoted our time to finding a means by which mind and soul might be transported together. Oh, excuse me, hang on a second. Yeah, look, that is true. Though I don't think that counts for all of them, right? Because La Brea, Emmett, and Elidibus would count. But then, who is the dunce that got himself killed trying to catch Minfilia? That one I don't think would... Oh, no, actually... No, we only talked about the ones that were alive. Maybe the Red-Masked Ascians were from... Nabriales, thank you. Maybe the Red-Masked Ascians were all ones from the source that weren't split. Shit, that's another detail I forget now. Oh. But yeah, it definitely did take a while to get there, but, I mean, it's kind of... It's probably more appropriate in this expansion, to be fair. Then we are no closer to a solution than when we first began. It is a vexing conundrum indeed, but one for which the Crystal Exarch has posited a most intriguing solution. Oh? When our discussions turned to the transference of memories in the psyche, I could not help but be reminded of a technique with which I have personal experience. Aldine, do you recall what we learned of my eyes from our encounter with Doga and Nunai? Oh, fuck me. That was a long-ass time ago. something about, like, the knowledge of Allagan being, like, deep within him? Yeah, so I think there was something about his bloodline and how he should be able to remember a lot of secrets of Allagan, but that Doga and Unai gave him the ability, or, like, they didn't give him that knowledge, they just unlocked it in him, if I remember correctly. This is why they made the Crystal Tower raids mandatory, lol. Yeah, well, I think the thing that was nuts up until that point, like, so I don't remember the exact timeline from the discussion, but I was having a discussion with a couple of my mates who I used to raid with in WoW on my stream about this. And apparently at some point they weren't. Because, well, sometime before Shadowbringers they weren't. Which makes sense, because it's just a raid. And, like, we didn't know. But apparently, like, a lot of devs were making a big, or, like, basically telling everyone they could that, like, no, you should do the Crystal Tower before the next expansion comes out, because it's important. And I don't know if that actually extended into Shadowbringers before they made it mandatory, but holy shit, would this story have not made any fucking sense, or had any of the emotional impact if I had never done the fucking Crystal Tower. Crystal Tower was ARR, yep. Endgame content, and people stopped doing them because it wasn't relevant for a while and people never queued for it. Right. Up to Shadowbringers, they really tried to convince people to do it. Up until mid-patch cycle, they made it mandatory. You mean mid-patch cycle in Shadowbringers, or mid-patch cycle in, Stormblood? Okay, so I'm pretty sure I just recounted it. Let's see how close I am. Mid-patch cycle in Shadowbringers. If that's the case, like, Jesus. Yes, I think it was 5.2? Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that there were people that got to the end of 5.0 and they never finished the Crystal Tower? Oh my god! That's insane! Some of the punches are just as lukewarm as now. Yeah, there's a literally different dialogue with the Exarch if you've actually done the Crystal Tower at the end of Shadowbringers. Fuck me. Okay, hang on. I need a moment to let that sink in. Speak of the royal eye of the Allagan Imperial line, gifted to my forebears through the blood and memories of the ancient Allagans. It is by this gift that I am able to control the Crystal Tower. Right. If we were to gain an understanding of the technology by which the Allagans were able to accomplish this transference, perhaps then we could keep mind and soul together. Imagine, if you will, a device like unto a soul crystal, replete not only with our worldly memories, but also the bountiful energies of the soul. That is our current avenue of investigation, and we will follow it wheresoever it leads. I can't fucking believe that. While we are thus engaged, I think it best that Aldine return to the source and inform Kryl and the others of our findings. Agreed. I imagine Tataru will be relieved to hear we've made progress of a sort. Then I would beg leave to relay our findings unto Thancred and Reen, and to assist where I may in their investigations of the Empty. Yes, please do. Should we have need of your counsel, we will not hesitate to summon you. To be fair, it was very hard to actually go through Crystal Tower for a long time because people never queued for it because it wasn't mandatory. Then making it mandatory made it actually doable without having to specifically put a group together. I'm going to get to that in a second. Give our regards to Tataru, won't you? It was just that one line, wasn't it? Yeah, of course it was. But that means they had the ability to make it mandatory. And if you made it mandatory, then people would be going through it. So I don't understand why, like... because... surely they must have known that that was the case. Oh, actually, no, hold on. I need to rethink that. Because you don't want people to come up patch day or expansion day and get, like, blocked at the door to say, hey, you should go and do the Crystal Tower, right? Would come across like a spoiler. I mean, I guess. You know what they could have done, though? They could have tied a quest in the 5.0 MSQ to completing the Crystal Tower. Like, maybe, like, halfway through or something like that, once you've had a few encounters. Or, like, once you've, I don't know, I feel, like, obviously I feel like there are better ways of doing that. But then again, like, I mean, you're saying that's a spoiler, but at the same time, like... Oh, no, that would have more I don't know, because devs shouting that you should do the Crystal Tower before this happens is... spoiler enough, in my opinion. Yeah, like if they were caught in the last minute and they had to do it, middle of the 5.0 MSQ. At worst, I reckon they should have put it at the end of, or like as part of 4.5. Because that's when people start getting like, that's when people's souls start getting snatched, and it's kind of like, what the fuck is going on? And then like maybe you have the encounter with the Crystal Exarch for the first time, and like you're describing what happened, and maybe Sid is there, and he's like, wait a minute. You just said someone with, like, a crystal arm? Like... I feel like there are better ways to incorporate that, but to be fair, it would go against precedent for them to make something old mandatory in between expansion patches instead of making new stuff. Right, like, don't get me wrong, like, that is actually a really tough thing to balance. Like, making something that was non-mandatory before part of... like a key story point later on is really rough from a design perspective to like address neatly. And like and honestly, like the later you leave the encounter in the Crystal Tower, the more obvious it's going to be that it's a spoiler. So even though I'm saying, like, as a last resort, you probably could make it mandatory in 5.0, that would be a gigantic fucking spoiler for the rest of the story. Yeah, I don't know. Considering where this game started and all of its messed up foundation it's inherited, I could think it handled it best they could. If there was nothing technically stopping them from doing what they ended up doing, I still feel like they should have done something in Stormblood. Because by that point, they should have known that that was being done, right? Like, I'm thinking about this from, like, inception of the expansion to release. Like, at what point could you do this and make it seem a bit, yeah... Because they had to have, like, they're not just literally flying by the seat of their pants now. Apparently they do, like, plan things reasonably in advance. And I think, well, Crystal Tower stuff is only becoming specifically incredibly relevant what you're doing now. I guess that's true. Because we did explicitly discuss characters that appeared in that. You can pick up most of it through context clues and Exarch exposition throughout Shadowbringers. Really? That it was... You don't meet Graha out of the Crystal Tower. Well, actually, oh, sorry, no, you can... Oh, okay, I see. Sorry, I'm gonna walk this back slightly. Because you can do enough of the introductory questline to the Crystal Tower to at least know who it is when the hood is thrown back. Granted, he has one more red eye, which you'd probably go, wait, what? But you get the broad strokes of the Crystal Tower. You don't really need to know the finer details until where you're at now. Yeah, like what happened with the clones of the Allagan people, yeah. Like, like, I could totally believe that someone did the early quest line and went, well, shit, no one's queuing for it, got to the end of 5.0 and still went, oh my god, that's him. Like, yeah. Also, I had no fucking clue who Graha was when the hood got thrown back. Oh, that sucks! Because I was speculating the whole time, like, it has to be Graha. And still, when that got, when the hood got thrown back, I was like, oh no, it is him. God, that was such a good moment. Damn. That really, like, obviously there's a big difference between, like, like, when it comes to experiencing narratives and how you come to know about the thing, there are definitely a lot of different ways you can do it. But, like, knowing that plot points that were not mandatory got missed, and that one of the reasons that I felt so much about this character was because of those things that people missed. That sucks. It's fun to go through the Crystal Tower after all that too. No, 100%. Like, you can definitely still get some of it, but I guess I appreciate, I guess it's specifically, like, the reveals. Like, because yeah, like, I like to see what the game is trying to do, or put myself in a position where I get to see the game's reveals as it goes through, because I think that's probably the best way to get an idea of what they were going for. But obviously, like I got spoiled on, honestly, you coming so late to this stuff is probably the ideal, because you get the benefits of them reworking stuff to make it more, make it a more comprehensive narrative. That is very true too. Sorry, I just want to finish that thought real quick. I literally wouldn't have been able to do Crystal Tower before finishing Shadowbringers because no one queued for it back then. Yeah, which, I mean, that's still crazy, but, like, yeah. And I guess in hindsight, it's not as bad as I thought. Nonetheless, like, yeah, like, I guess, like, I obviously think that, you should try and experience the stories as much as the way developers intend you to. There's obviously, like, you can't not... It's not like you can't enjoy a story if not, but I really do sympathize with people who have to take on, like, writing complex stories and stuff like that, and especially taking on writing story for an MMO that had basically fallen on its ass before any number of patches had come out. That when something like that happens, it's just like, oh no! They stuck the landing so hard, but there was this technical thing that just... That was just lost on people. Ugh. Anyway, hi Tataru. How have you been holding up? Aldine, you're back. How did everything go in the first? Wait, don't tell me. Cryo will be here shortly, and she'll want to hear too. She's just sending to the others. Their bodies, I mean. Gods, I don't think I'll ever get used to saying that. Anyway, you can tell us everything the moment she gets here. Oh, goody. That's always a good thing to see. Uh-huh. I've got time. Jeez, Tataru was talking earlier about how there was someone, she was looking for to help us with something.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
And we never found out who that was, so maybe this is where this picks up.
I've carried out the treatment as per Master Matoya's instructions. It should slow the destabilization of their corporeal ether quite significantly.
I have leftover chips. Yeah, I don't know, I strongly agree with experiencing a narrative the way developer intends, but it's hard to do that when there literally aren't system in place for you to do that in this sort of game, you know? Oh, 100%. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not saying that, like, people who didn't go and, like, strive to go through a years-old raid, to try and get that just so they could experience the game, the story as well as they could from the suggestions of the developers. I'm not saying that someone who couldn't end up doing that, like, is bad or sucks. I just feel like they got deprived of an experience that realistically has some pretty clear technical answers to it But as we've actually discussed it, I've thought, no, that actually has harder things to do, because the later you leave it, the more it's going to be a spoiler. The earlier you do it, you might be, like, cutting off people's experience to go and do that thing randomly in the middle of something completely unrelated. Like, you do, like, especially when this game does so much with its narrative, you really need to be able to craft that sort of quest line and make it make sense really carefully, because otherwise it comes off as a transparent, mandatory thing and not a lot more. It just sucks when there's, like, reasons outside of, it just sucks when there's no good answer to that, and the way they did it is probably the best, and it still meant that a lot of people missed out on that moment. Yeah. We also couldn't have known before Graha was unhooded that we should have done that raid, because there wasn't much to indicate that it should have been done until that moment. Realistically, they could have signposted it better, aside from the Crystal Tower literally being in the first. Very true. But you know what they say about hindsight. Yeah, exactly. Like, there is no good answer to that. You either telegraph it too hard, or people miss out. And I guess they went with not wanting to telegraph it until it was well after, and then they're like, okay, we can make this mandatory now to make sure people are actually doing it. But yeah, anyway. I've carried out the treatment as per Master Toy's instructions. It should slow the destabilization. Yeah. Sweet.
But tell me, how fare our friends in the first?
I appreciate that. They're doing alright. We ran into some hurdles, but we think we narrowed it down to a different method, which is side progress.
So this Becklug's the first to lead an authority on soulcraft, are they? Sounds promising.
And Urianger's proffered solution of white auracite is rather ingenious now that I think of it. Well, while they press on with their preparations, you may rest assured we will continue to do our part here.
Oh good, it's the Warrior of Light.
You're back.
Wait, why are you here? Oh. Why are you back here alone?
And none the worse for wear, I see.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm doing alright.
Estinian! Oh, thank the gods! We've been worried sick. Did you lose your link pearl or something?
Probably on purpose, yes.
The situation in Garlemald has become more complicated. I was making my escape from the capital when I ran into one of yours, Riol. He thought it best we come straight here.
Yeah, he was up in Garlemald, wasn't he?
More complicated how?
Where to begin? After entering the Empire via Razad Han, I went about my mission of investigating Black Rose. It was then, inside a provincial factory, that I encountered the one who styles himself Shadow Hunter, Gaius Baelsar. Our goals being apparently aligned, we joined forces and ventured on into the heart of the capital, to the very Imperial Palace itself. There, we found a man whom all assumed dead. But his soul lives on, and he has wrested back his flesh. Xenos Ye Galvus. Nor did the surprises end there, for no sooner had we arrived than he murdered his sire in cold blood. The Emperor is dead. This sent Gaius into a rage, and he charged in, blade drawn. What's wrong?
I don't think Estinian's ever seen this. Oh no. Gaius! Pardon? That? I've seen him in action. In his body, at least. You will not best him alone. Nay, death will not come easy to that thing. If you would join me, then by all means. For what good it will do. The Black Wolf and the Azure Dragoon. I suppose this might suffice. Okay, so I don't know what to do if I should interpret this aura as, like, he's still Asian. Or if Xenos has just become that fucking strong. Which, considering he basically fused himself with a primal, isn't actually out of the question. Would also explain why Elidibus ran. And was bested by him, without him in his body. Also interesting that his sword is complete, despite being broken. Come then. Guys, this is stupid. Oh, shit. Ah, the simple pleasures of, pleasure of one's own flesh. Truly there is no place like home. Abomination. Whatever he is, Aldine was barely a match for him. We stay here much longer. Oh no, you said the name. Oh. Oh. Oh no! Okay, actually, I don't know if Xenos would actually play this like this. Oh no, I guess he would be, he would basically become Emperor if that was the case, and he pinned it on these two. We may wear our welcome out. I'll wear out our welcome. I also realized I didn't say that line, but... Your Radiance! No! Must even the most middling of sport be spoiled? The world conspires to bore me. What I would absolutely love is he just turned around and killed everyone in that... everyone who was behind him. But I have no cause to remain. I leave these vermin to you. Ugh, Gaius, no. Wait, can he just do that now? Well, any bright ideas? Just one. That'd do it. The intruders have taken flight. I repeat, the intruders have taken flight. Deploy all available Magitech armor. We cannot let them escape. That's that's really damn inconvenient. Now that murder is probably going to get placed on Gaius and Estinian. Oh shit, we're playing as Estinian, aren't we? Hell yeah. Combo. Delivers a jumping fire attack based with a potency. Restores on HP. Okay, sweet. Oh my. Oh, this actually has area damage, I think. Yes. Okay. I should be positioning myself better then. Okay, so about a third my health. Oh no. Wait, is Gaius's... Oh no, that's not Gaius. Okay, shit. I was gonna say, is fucking Gaius's attacks, like, dealing damage to me? But no, it's the, twins. Well, I don't know if they're twins, but they might as well be. Wow. Oh no, they both got the same last name, so I guess that might be true? So once we're moving together, I suggest we split up. Alright then, I'll take the low road, so to speak. I really love that at some point they were just like, fuck it, this is now a proper Final Fantasy game that you play as other characters. Yeah, that is definitely neat. It also serves as, like, really small tutorials as well. Like, if you've never touched this job before, have a simplified moveset. See how that feels. Now, obviously, you always have, like, a healing thing, because otherwise this would be a nightmare. But you do get to have a little bit of a feel what being a Dragoon is, or being a White Mage is, or being any of those things is. Sort of teaching you how to play high-level Dragoon with the basic fundamentals. Exactly. Like, they're nice character moments, and they're also, like, mini tutorials in case. Well, someone's been busy. What the fuck? I'm sorry? It's even got the same music as fucking Ultima. You would bar my way, would you? So be it. It's got a little fucking Garlean strapped to him as well. Oh shit, here we go. Sir? Just Ultima, don't worry about it. Yeah, just... Holy shit. I've got more. Delivers an attack of potency, absorbs a portion of damage dealt as HP. Okay. Sap health. Dot. Delivers an attack with a potency of 600 to all nearby enemies, as well as enemies in proximity to those initially affected. Oh. Does not share a recast timer. Delivers a jumping fire-based attack to target and all enemies around it. 30%. Okay. So that's my leap. This is like a big cleave. Dot. Absorb. I also fucking adore the music for this boss fight. It's actually one of the very few redeemable things about doing Praetorium over and over again is hearing this music. Though admittedly this is very boring right now. But I'm assuming if they gave me AoE abilities, they're going to call in ads at some point. Hold up a second, can I target you? Can I target you? Fuck. Can I? No, I don't think I can target them. Please get out of that. Oh. This is a ranged... Wait, really? That's weird. I didn't think... Okay, that is not how I thought that was going to work, but sure. Should be... That's the wrong button. It really seems like I can't actually, target them with tab targeting, despite the fact that I can actually target them, which is really strange. Oh no. We're doing this shit now? Oh my god! Is this bad? Am I? Oh wait, I probably should be... Yes, that was bad. I should be doing a thing here. Thank you. Oh, that's not even targetable. Oh, okay, I understand now. It doesn't even need a target, you just press it. Okay, clearly I really misunderstood what that was doing. I didn't think it would have the range of the room. Okay, I get it now. Oh, god damn it.
Taste my lance.
This boss fight kind of sucks, by the way. Yeah, it's not amazing. The one thing I do appreciate about it is that it put all of those lasers in the room, and it covers the entire fucking room. Now, granted, that ability on 3 is... That was a sick transition. God damn, that was good. I was briefly confused as to why you were taken back by this. Then I remembered the thing I was thinking of happens a bit later. Well, I mean, imagine this is probably establishing that, hey, they're working on another Ultima. Also, this man... It must be because I got to the point that I could access the near raid, but for some reason, when I saw a white-haired dude on a machine, I was like, oh no. Adam's learned to it. No, I thought it was, Eve. I thought, oh no, Eve's learned to control more powerful machines. Yeah, it kind of does. Well, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit. I guess, you know, the fact that, you know what, I'm not even going to make that comment. Galleons and them Machina. Now, where are you, Gaius? That's a good question. The fuck is Gaius? Yeah, like, the one thing I appreciate about that boss fight is that, they did put something in the room that literally hits the entire room. Granted, they gave you a button that would clear the entire thing, which I think kind of sucks, but...
Are you alright?
Do you have any theories as to why a man would be strapped into that thing? That is a very good question. Trying to think. That was something that was going through my mind, but then I was like, boss fight is happening, I should probably pay attention to that. Now, I know that... so when we originally faced Ultima, Gaius needed to control it in some way, and he obviously stepped into it. Though it has, like, shown that it can, like, I assume autonomously fight primals. That would be consistent with Omega as well, I guess, but regardless, like, to be fair, Ultima was a while ago, and you might not remember the specific mechanics of it. Yeah, so there's a couple of things. Gaius obviously piloted it, so maybe having a consciousness in it, in Ultima, would have made sense. Is that actually required for it to function? Well, no. It's been shown to, like, make itself useful fighting primals by itself without Gaius in it, so presumably it can work autonomously in some regard. My guess is the Guardians wouldn't want to put that design flaw in there, or put that design decision in there necessarily. So I don't think it's just to have, like, a conscious being attached to it, like something that can control it, because there are better ways than grafting a man onto Omega like a fucking centaur. Except I guess Omega still kind of had his head, and it wasn't. Yeah. Also, doesn't seem like that man was super in control. No. It looked like it looked like more he was being drawn on for power or something like that. So the other thing I remember about Ultima is the heart of that La Habrea used to trigger the Ultima spell. Now, if I remember correctly, the way that was charged was by absorbing the primals within it, or, like, taking the primals into it and, like, charging it. The Heart of Sabbac, thank you. I don't know if you need that to function. However, it did seem like... It did seem like both having the primals and the Heart of Sabbac, powered within it gave it extraordinary abilities. And from what I remember, after the Ultima spell was fired, Gaius sounded like he was using, like, an underpowered Omega, robbed of both the primals and that thing. So my guess would be that there is some amount of potentially aetheric siphoning from that person was the core. Well, I guess the thing I was making clear with that was that Omega still worked after firing Ultima and having no primals in it. Like, it still operated. Whether or not it would have been strong enough to take on a primal in that form is another question entirely, which we can't answer because we only have the fact that the Blessing of Light was burnt out and the Omega was burnt out. Like, everyone had their power levels dropped for that part of the encounter. My guess would be something like that. It's got to be something to do with the Heart of Sabbac, and that is bad, because what the Heart of Sabbac did was fucking allow the thing to cast Ultima. So if it's anything in that direction, that's bad. It sure did do Ultima, huh? Yeah. Hey, Kral, did you get to control Gaius? What was that like?
Peer into my past, did you?
Oh my god! Like, I just thought of that on the fly, but that's kind of amazing. Although I guess we're both experiencing it from Estinian soul, so that doesn't actually make sense, but fuck it, that's a fun idea. It's like, I experienced it all from Estinian's perspective. What? I experienced it all from Gaius's. So also want you to consider the setting in which you fought that. Keep that in mind. No worries. Was playing something. The primals were stripped out of Ultima weapon before Ultima was cast. Yes, I'm aware of that. But what I'm saying is that at the point that we fought it again, it was completely burnt of all power. Like, it had the primals stripped out of it, then La Habrea triggered Ultima from that. So, like, at that point, if they're trying to replicate the Heart of Sabik, it doesn't even need primals in it necessarily. Like, if they found an alternate way to power something equivalent to that, that is very fucking bad. Yeah, sorry, that's kind of my thing, Estinian.
Well, I didn't quite relive the experience as you did, but I bore witness to it all.
Wait, what?
I'm still not sure what I think of this gift of yours. But no matter.
Yeah, it is, it is a bit intrusive. Primals are just high-density aether batteries. That is true. They are literally made of ether.
Our confrontation was cut short when the Imperial Guard arrived. It was then that Xenos took his leave, citing boredom.